No, boy. Okay, Rabbi say, this is a sheet about the Sod von der Hoshana Rabbe. Hoshana Rabbe bei Nacht. Du Hoshana Rabbe in der Früh, doch der Hoshana Rabbe bei Nacht. Was ist der Geluk von der Hoshana Rabbe bei Nacht und der Hoshana Rabbe in der Früh? No, that's wrong. The greit sich nicht bei Nacht fahren in der Früh. Why would someone do such a funny thing?
Ich trage noch in der comparison zu Nacht mit Adress.
Same problem. Wenn du öfter klug du größer Geluk von Nacht in der Früh. Ist du gewusst?
Jede Nacht schläft man.
Nacht ist dunkel und der Früh ist lichtig. Nein.
Was happened to
The secret von der Hoshana Rabbe bei Nacht. Was ist der Avoide von der Hoshana Rabbe bei Nacht? Was ist der Sei der Avoide?
Der Tag ist mit der Nacht. Das Leute schlafen was mit der Nacht. Relative to the avoidance von der Tag.
No. Wir schlafen nicht bei Nacht. Man kommt weiter gegangen, aber schlafen bei Nacht. Jede Nacht schläft man? That's something that you don't do. Schlafen nicht gesagt mit dit. Schlafen schläft man. Schlafen meint damit gut nicht. Schlaft.
Und wenn man erst inside, wenn es regnet, ist das nicht so.
It is got like the noisemaker for it. It's done. That's done.
Okay, so was du von der Nacht. Und was du in jeder Nacht?
Der Geluk von bei Nacht in der Tag ist, bei Tag weiß man, was mit dit, bei Nacht man weiß nicht. Was meint nicht mit dit nicht gut nicht. Es du ein paar Menschen, die wissen echt, was sie in sein Leben. Jene Menschen arbeiten noch bei Nacht. Verstehst? So wie es steht, Hinai Baruch Yes Hashem. Oh gosh. Kol Avdei Hashem, hu oim dem Meweis Hashem Balaylos.
This is... Who's that talking about?
Also du Jiden, was sei lernen bei Nacht. Was sei kein Eibisch zu bei Nacht. Ich weiß nicht, das ist gut nicht, meistens nicht bei Nacht. Hast du gewusst? Das ist gut nicht. Das ist nicht sogar schon mal Wöde. So du, yeah, exactly. Basically gut nicht. I can't, the baby is crying like this. Was?
You need a new baby?
Das ist kein Weg, das. Wo gehst du vor? Always that by the night, the people that are up at night means the people that understand really what's going on. Verstehst?
So when they sleep.
It fragt sich in Kasches.
Okay.
What am I going to do with the baby? So kann ich nicht care von nicht? So hilft nicht ein Noisemaker, sie schreit. Noisemaker hilft nicht aufstehen. Zu machen about it, ja, ich sage dir Idee. All of the Mekbulim and the Philosophen haben liebt zu lernen bei Nacht. Was haben sie liebt zu lernen bei Nacht? Was ist liebt zu sein auf bei Nacht und nicht in der Früh? For was ist die Energy bei Nacht und nicht in der Früh? Your what?
Cortisol and melatonin.
Diese Gashmi ist die Getritzen.
Was habe ich nicht zusammengekommen?
Ja, für was?
Und dann ist es ein kleiner Job.
Einmal bin ich gewesen in Zeiget, weil ich damals kam nicht auf. Einmal habe ich getroffen, ich bin nach Buch, aber ich getroffen, ich kenne die Menschen, die sagen, Mechaniken, hat ausgehabt, wie sie Psychologie arbeitet. Er sucht für alle Bucher im größten Chachmes. Da sagen Menschen, dann School auch, wie das? Du hast mal sagen, geladen, sagen, man geht es hier. Ich habe tief viele Sachen arbeiten. Nee, gesagt. Nein, auf Pi ist Psychologie, ich gehe Mechaniker sein, weißt du, was ich verstehe, Tag. Sie hat mir gesagt, ich habe gesagt, geht, wie sucht für eine. Ich habe gedacht, als das eine Idee, der Maße. Sagt, was haben Bucher im Lieb zu schlafen, bei Tag und dann auch bei Nacht? Weil wenn man auch bei Tag fühlt, man darf etwas tun, jeder sieht etwas, jeder geht in Schiel. Was? Das ist Arbeit eigentlich. speaking. Wenn man arbeitet, ich denke so, man arbeitet, man geht und so an. Und fühlt sich ein Loser, das ist nicht gut nicht. Fühlt sich wie ein Loser, heißt? Bei Nacht, keine Tension ist gut nicht, fühlt sich ruhig. Jetzt kann stippen der Zeit ruhig. Ja, das ist nicht gefährlich. But the same thing is true for this joke wegen Buchrem. I should say joke. After this MS. MS? But was it because it wasn't flattering to you?
No, I hope you tried to say about it. All the thing was it's a good.
Das ist schlecht. Anyways, I think that there's a pshat in this. The pshat is that es ist doch nicht nur the Menschen, was es ist doch nicht nur die Menschen, was sie haben mehr als begeistert so gar das Team gut nicht. Es ist doch so wie ein Sachmensch, was halt das Team tut. Weißt du, wem halt am Team gut nicht? Anyone that uses his mind, his main avoidance in his mind, in his cycle, people say that he's doing nothing. Du merkt? The Muslim. Ja, aber der hat die gut nicht. Verder von der was dit ja. The Muslim, the architect, man kommt auf den Pläne für eine Building, right? The builder ist, man sieht, stand auf der Tox, Mitchell, was ist das? Der Mitchell sich schwitzen, den Schweiz von der Augen, von der Ohren, von der Nuss. Es tut sich. Da ist, jeder sieht, der Arbeit schwer, es kommt kein Schari, ich habe right? Der Architekt sitzt sich in der Office mit Air-Condition, nach Hulem, Thomas. Ich trage dann so ein Fenster, dort hat Chimney. Ich hole morgen Paket, macht mich die Menschen, die sagen, hallo immer. Alle hallo immer, right? Die Menschen machen hallo immer Menschen. So hat er gut unter Tag, und kommt in der Früh, ich komme von einer Idee. We should do it like this. This is called in das Eife Keheles, Chachmas Hamiskay Beziu. So wenn ihr Gedäule, größer du, das sagt Menschen, ja? I don't know if this is what Keheles means, but this is one pshat. And the gewähn, ja, was steht, du kennst die Masse? Do people, you didn't read Keheles on Shabbos?
No, we listen to it.
You listen to it? No, das darf doch sicher wissen. It says a story. Yes, it says a story. Irketan was a little town, a little city. With few men in it. And a great king came to it. He surrounded it. He made a siege on the city. A great king made a siege on a small city. So this small city is of größer Tourist, because a great king made a siege on a small city. And he found in the city a smart and poor man. Miska means poor, I think, right? And he
Saved or escaped.
He saved the city with his chachma. And then what happened? Next part of the story. Nobody remembered this poor man. Everyone remembered the king who lost, and nobody remembered this poor, smart man who saved the city. And I said, wisdom is better than strength, because you see that some chacham saved the city with his chachma. And his words are not listened to, are not heard. And I said, I said that. And then next psukim say, the words of the wise are heard in nachas, means something like, what's that nachas do? Taruikait. They're more than the Shdev is a moishal of Ksilim. If you go to a shir and the guy should write, this is called Zakas Moishal Baksilim. No, they're saying the Moishal line. A Moishal Baksilim is a Zoyek. Chumim, they didn't know Benachas. You understand the difference, right? because he's trying to use gvira, he's trying to use his power. I'm screaming at you. Chacham just explains you and you right away understand. That's ruhig, right? Divrei Chacham ben nachas nishmuim. Bizak as Moshel beksilim, the best wie der Geschrei, was schreit auf der Tipschen. Gabst?
Aber sie geht auch auf der Mensch, was redt. Chacham redt, ja, Chacham ist benachlas.
No, he's talking about the Chacham that saved the city with Chachmusai.
Yeah.
He's speaking to the city. The Chacham is speaking to the city. He's not remembered, but still, he, with his nachas, with his silent, with his, how do you say it in English? With some like, not silence, but like something like with his subtlety. And who have we translated? English. Here he says that wisdom with heard and quiet. Doesn't mean quiet. I mean something like nachas is not entirely quiet, right? Nachas means nachas is rash. Like ruhigkeit. This is my English, ruhigkeit. Serenity, yeah, something like that. Serene words of the wise man. Better than the Yishraim from the Moshel Beksilim. Ksilim tipshem, narunim. Aksel is an ar. A Moshel, was a fiert, der Moshel, a gewältiger auf Ksilim, is a Geschreier. Es ist besser, die wieder gekommen benachas, mehr wie nach Moshel Beksilim. Chab? And then it says the same thing. Toivu chachmu miklikrav, better wisdom than tools of war, like the melech that had the mitzidim v'charamim. The choyte echo de abai toivu harbai. Shaykh is that part of the music, I don't know. One sinner loses a lot of good. Sometimes there's one little thing that goes wrong and that ruins the whole thing. This is all explaining the same point that, and seems like he's I don't know what is a complaint about. Kilis always have to stand with a complaint that this is not really true. Not sure. Seems to be good. He seems to be praising the wisdom. And a poor wise man is better than a strong, silly man. If he knows how to use his wisdom. If they don't listen to him, then it's tamashu detzat. But if he knows how to explain himself ruhigly, to explain you, then it's much better. Chap? It's a good derech navoid Hashem in life. Some people, their whole derech in life has to scream at you and to scream at themselves, and that's not a chachmas hamiska beziu. They lach on the people. They only think, oh, that are up at night. That's the point. You're up at night. You have that night. It's easier to plan. It's easier to think, right? This miskan is up at night. Why? Because that's when it's calm. There's not so much noise. Zakas moishal beksilim is stiller. And now he could think, and then even though he's not up so much of the day, but he does one thing with his chachma, and he saves the whole city with his chachma because chachma is what makes life easy, right? Right? That's how. That's what Kalis is talking about. Make sense? So to get back to our thing. Everyone knows what they do on the Shana by night. What do they do on the Shana Rabbah in the day? Macht azakas moishel baksilim. Narish menschen schreien. Hoshanu, Hoshanu, Hoshanu. Man kann auch tatschen. Zakas moishel, sie schreien zu der Moishel von der Welt. Aber die Divrei Chacham ben Nachas nishmuim. Die Divrei Chacham werden ausgeht mit Nachas versach mehr. Same thing it says that if someone knows how to learn, when his tefillos are heard. I have a whole theory that there's two kinds of people that daven. One person is shrying and he's getting so emotional and red in his face and all kinds of things. And another person is just quiet. Like daven like this. And I have a chakira. Which person's tefillos work better? So what does working mean? Come in two things. One thing it can mean is the Irish answers it. You daven for money. Who has more money? The guy that tries, or the guy that says,
The proof is in the pudding.
So The people that have more money, ich bin nicht masken.
Not schreien, but
The people that daven, I think, according to my tests, all of my research shows that there's no correlation between being more, not only shying, even being more emotional, like koching and davening, has no relation with the tefillah being answered. No relation. I'm telling you a fact. That's my research shows. Because they said kavuna. People are very confused about what kavuna but tefillah means. They for some reason think that being emotional or having pain, that's what most people do actually, having pain, like feeling pain. I have pain. People think that that's what kavuna means. What's got to do with kavuna? That's just pain, emotions. I don't know. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but what's it got to do with anything? Maybe you could say maybe tefillah with more kavuna gets answered. Okay, it says maybe such things. But what does it have to do with emotions? What does it have to do with all of this?
No, it's easier to be intentional.
Isn't there such a thing? I don't know of such a thing. In my life, I think that this is a nonsense. This is Zach's emotional vaxilim.
Zach's emotional vaxilim works. It's just not good.
It's a lot of effort for a little result. And the Divrei Chachomim is a little effort for a lot of result. Right? Like there's the ganze Stute zusammengekommen, der Julium Kippe, there was a big Melech Gudel, Sitrachre, that's in the Farsh, right? That this Melech Gudel is the Melech Zukim with the Suten. And Bunu Lem mit Zidem Gdoilem, and so kommt ein Jid, der ganze Stut schreit, Blues and Schäufer, es kommt ein Jid, der geht Blues Schäufer. Schäufer is not supposed to be geschrei. It's here Schäufer Kochma bei einem Melucha. Not about shrine and working hard. Working hard is for Ksilim. Chachomim are for Nachas. Divrei Chachomim benachas nishmoim. So I think that for Hashem doesn't answer tefillas of people that scream more than people that whisper and are calm. That's what I think. No, because he was simpler. Yeah, that's a different kind of though. I don't know if it's connected to this.
Makes sense. What do you mean? I'm first time.
Who the emotional David Lefnei Melech was the guy that got more emotional?
That's right. Yeah,
I didn't understand it that way. Also, it's also not entirely correct. In other words, what he was trying to say is that his tefillahs get answered, but he's not like what's the difference? This is going to be a little bit Reb Chanin ben Doisa. Yeah? Yeah?
Chanin ben Doisa is one of them. I don't know who the other one is.
Kisar Lefnei Melech, right? That's a very interesting Mishnah. My goal is to be Kisar Lefnei Melech, just to be clear. I know that most Chassidish is to say the Ke'evet, but that's not for a Chochem. It says like this: Omer Reb Chanin ben Doisa, and the story is that Reb Chanin ben Doisa. I'm not mistaken. So, what does it mean? What's the difference between Eved Lefnei Melech and Kisar Lefnei Melech? A Salaf Melech is the guy that sits in the meetings. He decides who should we make war on, how much divisions should we commit to each war, how much money should we pay for this part of the economy, how much money should we pay for that part. He's part of the decision-making process, right? He's very much in part of the control, right? And then this side comes tomorrow and he says, Melech, I think my cousin, Melech says, are you serious? Plain nepotism? It doesn't work like this. There's a plan. There's an order to things. What do you want? But he doesn't understand the no plans. Not part of the real management, not controlling the country. He comes, he says, look, it's such a nebuch. No, come, we'll help you. Understand? Of course, sometimes that's the story. There's someone sick. He's basically not part of the big, it's a very small thing. So maybe you could go to the Eved Lefnei Melech. But the Chachomim, they're from the Sudan Lefnei Melech. Verstehst? It's not always a ma'ala. Exactly. It's really more. The Sad has more control. The tefillas are more answered. It's just that the tefillas are not the same kind of tefillas. They're like, oh, look at the sick, help me. It's not like just like the same thing. Reb Nachman said a story. Reb Nachman used to when he came to Uman, he was friendly with all these Maskinim over there, and he was very friendly with them. He used to play shach with them and shmiz with them, play cards. Who knows what he did? Read books with them, whatever, hanged out. And one time, one of his chassidim, I think or someone else, his chassidim walked by and he was very upset because whole life is dedicated to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe comes, smiles at him once a year, And these shkutzim, the Rebbe is smiling with them and hanging out and everything. He's like, maybe why did the Rebbe hang out with me? So, okay, there's another answer to this kasha. But he told them, the answer is that he said there's a mushla of a melech that one time the king's old friend came from school to visit him. He said, oh, let's play shach like we used to play. So they played shach. And they were very heimish, and they were playing. So he became heimish, and he won sometimes. The king won. That's when someone else touched the king. Nobody wins the king. But this guy was playing, so he took off his rekel. He was sitting gishma heimish. And then one of the ministers walked by. One of the ministers walked by. The minister goes to the king. And he sees this guy. And the king turns out to him and he says, don't worry. The fact that I'm heimish with him doesn't mean that with you I'm dealing with the countries and everything. Him, I'm playing shach. Same thing. You understand? Being more heimish is not always a mal. That means always like you're not so serious. The Chaim Kanievsky never kocht beim Davening. All his tefillas worked, or at least as much as anyone else. Like he davened like this. Playing is with alle Werte heimgegangen. Ich mach kashims orres, kashims rakshes, nothing. And the same other Litvish Gedolim that I know. Chassidish Gedolim, most of them have a problem. They think they have to kvetch sich. But your Rebbe, who? Nein, das liegt ja, aber Stillerheit. Nicht, he wasn't very, it was Sifu Vasuru, but ja, ich habe den Tag geschmack. The Kotzke Rebbe said, I told you the Kotzke Rebbe told you yesterday, right? The Kotzke Rebbe is the daven with Daberish L'Yai. Kotzke Rebbe gedamt, and that's why in Kotzke Rebbe said they don't even say with a nistach sometimes. They just say Bichat Hashem, kind was sagst du aber als Mutter jetzt alle ja Mensch? What is this craziness? So wir redt man also. Klar, wir redt Bichat Hashem, keine sein. Please, schreich. That's how the Kotzke Rebbe is to daven. Because Daberish L'Yai, the Kotzke Rebbe said it says a pusik in Yirmiyah. Tushev Yisruar Lalai Tushev. Remember we discussed this pusik yesterday already. And the same word. Was the pusik meint? Ich weiß nicht. Du hast the Kotzke Rebbe getatscht, so meinen. Kotzke Rebbe gesagt, tatach. Pusik tatach meint, if you'll return to me, then you won't have turis. Tunid means probably you should have turis or something. The Kotzke Rebbe getatscht, tunid is meluschen neid, nuvenod, medickt sich, metockelt sich. Und the Kotzke Rebbe gesagt, tusisch, ich gehe zu mir, Puna ist uplosen, dann Schutzerei. The Lowy tun it, dass ich darf schockeln am Davenen. But always schockelt sich ein Mensch mit Davenen. Because he's not normal to him to daven, right? Ich red's mit mich schockelst du dich? Weet noch nicht, weil ich red mit dich. Ich kann sagen, Bräugis, ich kann sagen, was? Exactly. But by davening, people are shockling. Why are they shockling? Because they're not there. It doesn't make sense to them, the davening. It's all, they think also that davening means being in a ecstatic mood. Ecstasy is a gross Indian, but that's going to be davening angelegt. It's not ma'akev in tefillah. Ecstasy is not ma'akev in tefillah. Big chiddush for the Chassidish Yidden, I know. Ecstasy is not ma'akev in tefillah. It's not ma'akev. It's a nice thing, but it's nothing to do. It's not a chiyuv. Playing, I'm not distracted. I'm not distracted. And the weiß is me will. Also wie die redest mit mich, sometimes you're thinking of something else. That's not having kavuna. Or if you really want something else, you say one thing and you mean a different thing, and I'm stomach let's. When you, maybe sometimes you will, sometimes not, depending on the situation. It's not the biggest. I'm thinking, oh, I don't know, maybe.
No, it's got another expression.
Okay. But the point is that Chassidish people always assume that if someone chuckles too much, it's because he's very distracted. He's trying to get away with distraction. People think that that's a way to get. I don't think it's a way. It makes things worse. But people think that the way to get out of your machshava zuris is called Chassidus. Machshava zuris means like distractions that you have different thoughts. It's to go like this. Does it help? Promise you, it doesn't help. It makes things worse.
It also makes things good. It helps you focus.
You don't think of anything else.
Oh, it's like very good. It's like one of my meditation teachers said that there's two ways to chap a signal on a radio. If there's a radio, when the old radio was on the top, kids don't know what this means. But in the old times when there was a radio, a lot of times there was a static. because the signal is not clear, so it sounds like that. So what do? There's two itis. One is to turn up the volume very high, so the static also gets higher, but at least they hear what the guy is trying to say. Okay. Other itis to turn down the static. How do you do it in radio? You tune it better, you get a better antenna, you buy a new radio, you move somewhere where it's closer. I don't know. All kavaitis. So he said that two ways of kavuna. One way is to just make everything louder. You hear the machshava is also louder, but it's so you make such a rash that it's like, and sometimes you try to focus on that, so it drowns out. You scream so loud that it drowns out the shtis and then on your head. But a much more, that's called zakas moishal beksila. Back to my pusik. Zakas moishal beksila. The shreit is a hoich. Hofft das echt immer auch schreien, verstehst? Then the divrechum benachas nishmom. Divrechum benachas nishmom is that it turns down the static. Then he could whisper. That's what it says in the Gemara. Makbiya koile bet filusi razi miktana yamuna. If you schreibe in davening, you have small amena. Why? Because the Eibush is close to you. If someone understands what he's doing by davening, then he's talking. You can even whisper. If you think, like it says by Nimvai, by Yikru elihim bechazku, said the Katzkerebe is important. Is a Polish, that's not the Polish, a grubbing. Schreit, da ist so much rein hoch. I think I take him best. I got to him best. Yeah, same thing with the Nevi Abal. Remember? The Nevi Abal was screaming by his good dick, Charovo is coming ugam from the Friebes Nachmittag. And Alionovi told them, Kiri, we call Gudol, Kelly Himi, Ilayushan, Hirayikats. And he got schluff. Maybe he has to wake. Maybe he's taking a nap now. Maybe scream louder. And then Aliyah by the Mincha, he didn't scream. He just said, Anani Hashem Anani. And I have to answer him. This is Buddha communist. As far as I can tell, it doesn't make any difference if you're emotional by davening. But the fact that I have to answer you, the answers even when you whisper. Or dafka when you whisper. Zweitens called, even if you'll say, so what do the Shiyidin say? That tefillah is not only about this. Tefillah is also about being inspired, about and creating certain emotions. It's a mitzvah to have certain emotions. Some people think that it's the biggest mitzvah in the world. I don't know if it's the biggest mitzvah in the world. But it's a thing to have specific emotions, like Avas Hashem, or Yiras Hashem, or awe of how awesome things are, or feeling stupid because you're so stupid. Like I read Rabbi Tzchman's Kintus, I quoted you yesterday. And that he said that what is his kavunas by tefillah usually? Rabbi Tzchok writes in his book. Rabbi Tzchok writes in his book as many times in the middle of davening. What he thinks about is the Chavos Haluvos. Chavos Haluvos says that people that talk about Hashem, they have no idea what they're talking about. It's like you're trying to talk to a behemoth by saying a mashir. It's like Lemush, right? Let's say my key has to come to my. Ich darf bring the key to the vase. So that's the key. Let me explain you. Wasser that makes you live, and if you go there, you hack him kaparan. It's not shaykh. And the same thing when most people talk about God, they don't know what the world they're talking about. It's not even connecting. So that's what he thinks about usually when he davens.
What is he thinking?
Arid Zake and the Rambam doesn't mean screaming. Who told you this funny pshat? What did he say? What is he saying?
He's telling himself that he's the cow?
Yeah. He's saying that every day he does tshiva, this is called tshiva, realizing that whatever he thought about Hashem was shtisim et lakshin. Nervous, yeah? Start figuring out. Divrechum benachas nishmon. Benachas, divrechum benachas. We'll try to figure out one thing at a time.
Yesterday is divrechum, today is divrechum.
Could be. That's not such a good way to think about it. Because it's too, also, you're making it into a... Dan maak ik een kleine mistake, maar het mag een weinige mistakes aan. Maar it's so complicated. I was in the middle of saying something about so then some people say that the tefillah is not only for Hashem to help. Of course, Hashem really, ask any Chassid. I don't know, maybe Litvaks think differently. I don't think any Chassid believes that Hashem listens to you more when you scream and you kvetch than when you say, you know the story of Reb Nachman? Nachman was into this. The tefillah means kipshita. Exactly, and he didn't shrai. And Reb Nachman tried to explain to people what is tefillah. So once he was sick and his ankle was there. So his ankle was there. So Zaida was laying in bed, never sick. So he told his Einikel, I'll give you a pity and I'll give you my watch if you daven for me. No, so sorry. He said, why don't you daven for me? He said, give me something for it. He says, it's not get to eat. Get to eat, the only davens for you if you give him money. So he said, what am I give you? Okay, give me a watch. Okay, so give him his watch. And I said, okay, now let me see you davening for you. So he said, so now I have my watch. And I said, guess what? What did you think tefillah is? This guy is right. Because that's what convinces God. He stellt up on the What kind of God do you believe in? What's wrong with you people? Such the myoinus shav.
There's also something called sleep.
It's katniss semena.
Wake up in the night and go.
It's for sure not convince God, because God doesn't get impressed by us.
Convincing God. Whoever said anything's convincing God, and when you say I'm not from Allah,
no, when God gets of course. So wait, so other people say, so let's continue. So a lot of people say, of course, tefillah is not anyways about convincing God. So what is tefillah about? But according to there is in some that we'll talk about this. So what is it about? It's about a certain inspiring, having emotions. That's what a lot of people think. And it's beginning to have emotions. And do we even know what those emotions are? Most people don't know what they're talking about that either. What kind of emotions are you having right now, Nick? I know the main emotion that most people that I know have.
Boredom?
No, that's when they're bored. The chidduch from the mention was Tina avoids tefillah.
No, what do you mean? There's different emotions.
Boredom, but yeah, bored. In other words, the emotion, the main drive is like this. It's a chiyuv to daven, and it's especially important to understand to daven. I feel like so much I need to daven. I feel so much that I'm not davening not good enough. That's the emotion that most people are feeling. I promise you, if you have an emotion detector and shield, what they're feeling is the emotion of the chiyuv at tefillah and the chiyuv to be inspirational by davening. That's the main emotion that they're feeling. I'm talking about the chachamim. I'm talking about the chachamim. That's then you don't come to shield. Then you go in the vowel and you down.
Sometimes we do that in shield.
For the most part, the Kotzker Rebbe, he once tried to explain to someone what's Yiras Shamayim. He said you were once in the forest and something happened. A bear came or something. Were you scared? Yeah. Did you know when you were scared that you were being scared? Did you like, now I'm being Mekayim Yiras HaBeer? No, right? So if you're davening and you're like, jetzt habe ich Yiras Hashem, this is nicht Yira. You're totally confused. You're being Mekayim the mitzvah of being Messiah. That's messed up. There's something very messed up on this. It's not real. Anyways.
That's not true. I don't know. I got married and at least the tradition, even later, every time
this is the love. Okay, it's also to the world. Hello.
Because we have societal expectation. It tells you, you're going to feel.
Exactly. It's not normal.
But it's neurosis.
Exactly, it's neurosis. Exactly, it's neurosis. Just neurosis. Same neurosis. Like, do I really love you? Do you love me? I don't know. If you're, do I know?
But still, it's true. The emotion doesn't take away from the fact that the emotion is.
Yeah, but the driving. Oh, very good. The driving thing is.
The emotion is the anxiety.
Very good. Very good. Most of the emotions are either covered up by anxiety or swallowed up by it. By this neurosis. It's not really the emotions. Emotions are fine. But the main thing.
Anxiety is a more powerful emotion than love or hate or fear or all those things.
Yeah, but this whole anxiety or this neurosis of like, am I really having love? Do I don't have love? That's what you're doing most of the time. Look, my life, it brings you somewhere, maybe. If you have the love and then you have that, look and promise you go into this medish, most people are just being neurotic. And the people that are more free are the people that are more neurotic. It's Buddha and this Freud said this is old stuff. No, he's saying something true. There's true religion that's beyond all of this. But you'll see that what we call Asaris is just neurosis for the most part. Furaya, the people that are not neurotic, like the Buddhist said, the people that don't check their doors 3 times, they also don't check the leader 3 times. It's interesting. It's the same machla. There's a story that the Buddhist was a very neurotic person, and he used to be worried that his leader was maybe white and it's not green all the way until the top. What kind of shtissim? Not shtissim. And then he said, what? And I know what you mean. But Kitzer told him that he's not for him, he's not Yiras Shamayim, he's playing a nervous person, so he also checks twice if his door is locked at night. He says, "Taka," but you know what? Sometimes it's open. Sometimes I check it and it was like it's still open. Anyways, we got to get past this. Oh, so what was I saying? This is one problem. I'm not getting this is not my drusha today.
What are we doing at night?
Wait, I have to finish saying my sheet about tefillah. Very important sheet. No. So, but if you say that the point is, I'm masking. I think that's not mitzvah tefillah, it's different mitzvahs, but there's such a thing called inspiring emotions. A lot of people need catharsis. You know what's catharsis, right? Catharsis is a theory made up by Aristotle that, in his book on rhetoric, that some people have many emotions, and sometimes you go to a play like a scary play or a very loving play or inspiring play. What's the point? It like purifies you. Catharsis means purification. It purifies you of these emotions. It sort of gives out.
You're supposed to believe, or it's like something that makes sense?
It's something that's supposed to make sense. Yeah, it's an experience that people have. Like you see something very sad, and you like get to cry a lot, and then you like you feel better. You see people feel better after they cry or after they're very happy and they get out of it. It's a certain. There's other levels of this, but it's called catharsis, and it's an Aristotle's theory against Plato, because Plato said that Plato was on the Chatzker side. Plato said this is just inspiring emotions. They make people worse, and Aristotle said no. There's a positive point in it called catharsis, which is some kind of purging or purification of your emotions. So what?
Nothing. So that's why I don't read novels, because I'm asking.
It's machlokes Plato and Aristotle. So not so machlokes the Mittler Rebbe and the Anastasia. Same machlokes, right? So it was with Plato. It is about pure thought, and the Anastasia said we should do catharsis.
Maybe call them to stehen. Gitzen novels al life events inspire nog it they like.
Life events. Shockingly live is an action, of course. If you're like, what do you mean? That's why the Chachomim who were into intellect, they didn't care so much about chocolate live. Like Rebbe Akiva, like Rebbe Gamliel, no, not lose his pshat. That's another pshat. Rebbe Gamliel and Rebbe Akiva and Rebbe Gamliel and Rebbe Yeshia didn't chocolate as much as everyone else, because they said, we don't have to. Everyone was having their great cathartic moment in Besmik Shabbat. Unu Hashem atzlich, unu. There's a Hashem as you know. What's the Shabbat? There's a machlokes by Sil. I'll give you the context. Okay, you this. There's a machlokes in the Mishnah by Sil and by Shammai. When do you shackle the lilith? By Shammai said by Unu Hashem Hushiunu and by Unu Hashem Atzlichunu. By Sil said only by Unu Hashem Hushiunu. Said Rebbe Akiva a story. He was in the Beis Hamikdash and he was watching Rebbe Gamliel and Rebbe Shia, who you should have heard already about from my stories on Pesach, who Rebbe Gamliel and Rebbe Shia were. Two important people who were sometimes in a fight and sometimes not. And he said the whole oilam kalu everyone was shocking the lilith by Unu Hashem Etzlichunu, and the Gamliel and Rebbe Shia were just standing there. They're only shocking by Unu Hashem Etzlichunu, like this hill. But if you think about the point of the story, what he's saying is, what was cost the hill to shocking? What was this whole thing? There's people that have a museum and Torahs. What's the name of Tzlichu and the name of Bashir upside? Ich see this with people say there's a word was looked off from Tzlichu medaften shocking. Yeshia medaf shocking. That's like a Yiddish thing to say. But my understanding is that the Chachomim, like Rebbe Shia, they didn't see their thing as shocking. They were not Kretschnev. They were Chachomim. Okay, is the Chiv the shackle? Get the shackle. He moved on. His main thing was learning, was understanding. That's how I understand this story. I have this vision in my head of like the Gansonim is in ecstasy. They're shocking that lilith, and there's three people in the middle, and Rebbe Akiva is watching, and like he's the student. Rebbe Akiva was also sometimes ecstatic. Says in the Gemara, Rebbe Akiva, when he was davening privately, he was starting from one corner and ending in a different corner because he was jumping and kriyas. But when he davened b'tzibur, he was calm. But then this is him learning from his Rebbe. He was a student of these people, not Amish, but anyways, and he was watching them, and he saw that they're not so caught up with the whole thing. So Bekit said, what am I saying? I was saying that there's a different shit. So first we solve this thing. Unu Hashem Eshiyunu, it makes no difference if you scream. If you say it silently, it helps also. That's why we have to stay up by night. Second level, that was the story of the Chachmas HaMiskem Beziyu. Chachmas HaMiskem Beziyu is the that stays up at night and learns Torah. That's why at night you learn. You don't daven, you don't shy. Schreit nicht mehr nach, man lernt stille Heid, oder man schläft, man kann nicht see how schreien. That's by night, the learning at night. That's why the Chacham like learning at night when nobody's bothering them, or you wake up very early. It doesn't matter, or you find some time. It's the same idea. And Hoshana by night, they made it decided to learn at night. That was a start. And then, of course, a bunch of Maratzim came and they started saying to them, right? Have the master, right?
I believe you.
Okay. That's a story that I made up also in my head. I don't know if it was really like that. So it's my understanding. Like I think Lashvi all of these things were such beautiful things where like few Chacham said, we don't have God for him. Let's get together at night. We kind of shreit. We kind of learn and geschmack. Anything but a smila. It comes from the Zohar, this minute. They stand down and said the Torahs that they say that they're machal. And that's why I am Mashan Rabbanat. I make a shir. I don't say Tehillim.
You just have to
yeah, a bisschen Tehillim, like the Beglil. One Hashem Eshiu, no, eins, a bisschen. Same with, I saw a story of the Yitzchok Alexander Rebbe, that Shan Rabbanat, everyone was saying Mishtoira and stuff, and he was just sitting there. And he said, why? And he said, oh, I was going to I said a little. Anyways, that's the side. What am I saying? So this is Einzach. Zweitens is even if you talk about catharsis, if you want to talk about what the Mushal, the Baltani used to say, that it's true that Tefillah is Midrabuna, but the Havira is Midiraisa. And he interpreted Havira as having feelings of being, going, like becoming very impressed by how great God is. I'm like, I love him so much. Or fear, which is like how great he is, and I'm like not there. And the Chassidim made the main avodas tefillah into this, like being inspired by the greatness of God. That's why the Chassidim, they were very the Psik Zemer. It was Psik Zemer. They talk about how Hashem makes everything and how many interesting creations there are and things like that. What's the best?
How did
I'm telling you. Wow, Psik Zemer. That's the Chassidic thing. Because they don't really care about Pakusha Srucha, being basic tefillah, whatever. That's Litvish.
Because then you just do it to Hashem.
Right, because that's simple. They were cared about being ecstatic and spirit and having some emotions very much. So, makes sense. Now, and the point of this was to impress yourself of the greatness of Hashem, to impress yourself of what is good, things like that. Now, the interesting thing is, and this is a letter from the Chdi Shirim wrote a letter to his uncle, I think it's Samus. You know the Chdi Shirim's letter? So the Sadas. Hello. I decided to become a chussid of this Chdi Shirim's letter. Let me find it to you and read it to you.
You don't have it beforehand.
And I'm gonna give it to you. Chdi Shirim. Mashu Udam. Give me a second. I'm gonna find it for you. I have to find it for you.
Okay.
You don't know this letter of the Chdi Shirim?
Maybe I do. I don't know which one.
What's going on with you people?
Yes, that's why we come in. Every week we hear about a different esoteric story to say. You don't know?
Yeah, this is part of my data chalimut to tell you that you're Hamaratzim. I don't know why. It's not nice of me. After.
You don't know the Astracht discussion about the Kohen Gudel with the Shnai
That what? Kiterim, the kitim omed, kifit bias, kivin bias. What do you say? Oh, it's here. Listen. Chdi Shirim wrote a letter. It's very easy to get that. Wow, where's the whole letter? I have to read you the whole Meretchen. There's a whole letter. So listen, there's a letter that the Chdi Shirim wrote, and very important letter. Aleph was Chan Tufresh Dalet. Tufresh Dalet is 1844. Wrote a letter to his wife, Feigele, and his son Avramatcha, and his Eidem Benim Elizer, and his Eidem Zandvul, and all his daughters and Einiklach. Okay, this is at the time when there was stories that the Kotzker Rebbe got with the Ishbitz and other things, so he was part of trying to solve the problem. Anyway, so he's writing a letter to his family, okay? And he says, I came to this place, and someone had to be there for Shabbos, and now today I'm going to Brod. That's it. And then, where are you going? Where's the? And then he says like this: there was a shmiyah that he's going to Sadiger. There was some episode about Sadiger also. I don't know what the story about Sadiger was in that time exactly. And the Olim, the Sadiger Chassidim, said that he's going to Sadiger. He's going to Sadiger Rebbe. And he says, someone wrote him, his item, or someone else wrote him that they heard that he's fully Sadiger. He says, Lo yidate maru l'shtis kazeh. Mi peis higle dover shloi debart v'nen ezech lahu. Which stupid person told him such a thing? I don't remember saying such a thing. He said, maybe I said, I'll be there close, I'll go, pass by. Even that, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe yeah, maybe not. This is not like a whole political statement. I'm going to Sadiger. Shtissim et lakshin. Iksil marbe devurim. Last is Rash. Can you remember the Ksil? Kol Ksil beroiv devurim. Noch a puskin keres. The Ksil marbe devurim. Last is Rash. Hatzlach Hasidim. To make a Rash by the Hasidim. Ki zed dar kom by us. This is the day way of the Hasidim handige Zaten. And ich tishrim. Magamas kol echad ve'echad. The goal of each one. Rak lahagdil rabbi ad la shemayim. To make his Rebbe great until the sky. V'yesra devurim agov etzlam. Everything else is side things. This is the new Derech Chassidus. Instead of Derech Chassidus being about Avodas Hashem, the only point is everyone should make his Rebbe big until the Himmel. Everything else less important. It's Agav. And that's why they said, oh, Tzadageh Rebbe is great or whatever. And he says, this is nonsense. Yeah, we know this mid Derech Chassidim bias is still the meaning. Who writes about it? Yeah. No, but this is the no, that's about Menugim. He's talking about the Indian that Chassidus became just making your Rebbe great. And then he says like this: Hashem yita belebayni nekida mitis lavedusoi. And since it's such a shreklich hamatzev, Hashem should plant in our heart one true point for his avodah. Ilahaber alilim and uretz, to take away the getchkis from the Welt. Which getchkis? Saying that your Rebbe is the greatest. Said the truth is a subtle thing. The truth is like a chit like one hair, and there's so many politic and so many shtism around it. Hashem should help us. We should find some truth. And then he gives them a start. And after this thing, he starts giving adrocha to his family. He says, "Listen, first you should start learning. You should start. That's learning. All these politics, is a waste of time. You should want a little bit to be good, which he calls doing the Hashem's roots and what he told us in the Torah. I'm going to skip that because that's not how I read the word being good. But anyways, you should want us being good. Okay? And Hashem, listen, Hashem helps people that go with sincerity. Besides for this, learning and trying to want to be good, everything else is narishkeiten. And then he says, this is the important line that I'm going to get to. And this is against the whole Derech Chassidus almost, like the whole Chitzonis Derech Chassidus. Besides for the Chitzonis of making your Rebbe great, there's also the Chitzonis in the Avodas Tefillah. Imash udam poel etzle eisen etil letoiv alidai yishiv hadas toiv hadover harbe yoisrim al dai koichas tefillah. If someone convinces himself poel etle poel bazich, one little netia, like he wants the good a little bit, but yishiv hadas means calmly. Yishvadas is actually a code word for meditation sometimes. Yishvadas means calming your mind, literally. It's better with koichas tefillah. Koichas tefillah means, I want to be good. You know these stories? This guy, Shrayt, I love you, Hashem. Little Yishvadas is better. Because there's a lot of fantasias. Kocht sich beim Davenen, a lot of fantasies. Einer doesn't stay. 5 minutes later, he's all befresse. Lowy kan da yishev hadas. And what is yishev hadas? Read it. Shemevarer etzle hatoiv letoiv. He clarifies for himself that the good is good. This is a much better language than what I said before. It's Hashem. Clarifying for yourself that the good is good. That is much better than all the koichas tefillah. Hagam she'ayni margish ba'atzmei kolkach. Even though you don't have feelings, like I don't feel nothing. Simple. I think this is good. I think that what is good is good. Something. Right? He brings another pusik in Mishnah, I think, saying that when someone has these people that are chasing feelings all the time, becomes a lot of gava because you're feeling yourself, you're expressing yourself. When you have the Yishuv Das, and it's a lot more calm. There's a lot less of yourself in it. There's a lot less of this like, I'm the big guy. I have so much feelings. It's like, because you don't have any feelings. It's not like anything. It's just what it is. That's what he's bringing a pusik. The Mishnah says it's better to have a meal of vegetables with love than a whole gefette ox with sinner. And what we're saying is that the Drashaim am Davon is like a Pashete ox. Heißt du it? So weggegangen.
Ja.
Die Schreim sagt, dass ich kochen am Davon ist like a Pashete ox. Schaut, ob es wie Sinne boy. So klar du Sinne, was für Sinne, weil man viel sich als sich allein making yourself bigger. And the Yeshvadas levarretz leatoiv letoiv, that's a lot greater, and that's called aricha seirek v'havuba. It's like vegetables, but it's full of love. Anyways, this is the brief from the Chdeshirem, so it's so that I see this. And why am I bringing this letter? Here's to tell you that if you'll tell him that tefillah is not stam for I get convincing Hashem, but it's convincing yourself. So even for convincing yourself, there's a lot more that works from Yeshvadas than that works from koching gezech. Koching gezech is catharsis, doesn't make you good. This is more the Plato's side, but I don't know. More than that. Steinst? And this is back to the thing of being at night.
That's what
So
we're
at
doing
night,
right now, supposedly?
yeah. It's definitely more Yeshvadas than the Zakas Mosel Baksil that other people are doing. It's definitely, yeah. I think so. Who said? Why did he give Kulis a broken for the Torah?
Yeah.
For the Vabe. True. But some of them can. Some people are very megishiv. Some people don't understand unless you scream. So you scream. Yeah, but now we're talking about true people. Now we're talking about what is really good. You understand? Very good. So that's the Indian of staying up, being at night. That's the difference between at night. Now we should do the real thing. This was just about what we should do. Now you have another 3 hours until the morning to do it, actually.
Just give me 5 minutes. If he did the conversation, you for 5 minutes.
He didn't say anything about 5 minutes. Who told you about 5 minutes? I actually think that this takes a lot longer. Because
we can think about what we really have to do.
Kochen gezegd is kochzech. Figure out what inspires you and you kochzech. The Richa Serig of Shalva, you have to have really Yeshvadas. Yeshvadas means slowing down. Instead of going fast, it's going slow. Understand?
Yeah, so when are we going to figure that out?
So that's what do? We make a chazur on the whole Torah. What is this whole Torah about? And we prepare ourselves to make a new Torah because we finished the Torah. Finished the Torah, right? So the God's Rebbe, what do you mean you finished the Torah? You can't the ganze Torah, sagst du Kapara. What's the ganze Torah Regel Achas? Hello, it's not the ganze Torah Regel Achas, it's the Hari Yeshvadas.
You cannot have Yeshvadas Regel Achas. As soon as I have Buddhist monks, the Steiner Regel Achas is behind the das ist schon was, right?
Jetzt auf Steife ist dazu, mehr Yeshval Kisai. Let's do it, what Yeshvadas. You know that it says in Kis Farizal that you have to say Krishma is Ditzendik Dafke, right?
Makes sense.
Then the Stalin attack and hold of this. They say you have to stein as an Ebedik. Okay. Aber the Rizal gesagt, dass Dafke Ditzendik was. True. Shema Yisrael Hashem V'kaini Hashem Echad Shtein.
What do you mean? So one second, Rabbi Kiva, so you have to suppose Echad, it's been as Echad.
It
wasn't Echad.
It doesn't, not necessarily. I don't know.
All the stories, it sounds like it's screaming Echad.
By the way, this screaming Echad is one of the worst things. It doesn't help nothing. Bechlali, kvetschen Echad, was kvetcht in the Welt da. I promise you, it does nothing. I have so much experience with this. It is Jewish. People think that that's doing something because they're magician, because your body, you see, what's the difference between the body and clearly the body and the cycle. Body only understands when things move, when you see like a movie, something that you can make a video of. A thought you can't see. Nobody can see it. You don't even feel it yourself, right? When you're feeling, I feel something. You don't feel anything. So most people literally don't believe that thoughts exist. It's stupid, of course they do. But that's what people seem to think sometimes.
Oh, okay, fine.
So if the one, what's my starting word? Darf man gaan van Echad? That's why I'm Shefer. Okay, what's my day? What do you think I mean? What's about the Echad? Why does it take me more than a quarter of a second? What are you doing? That takes a very long time to go through. If you tell, I'll tell you if you mean what it really means. Of course, it could take 100 million hours. What does the Marich Beichad mean? You think about it, Beish Vadas. You say, what do you mean? What do you mean? There's so many things. Do I even understand what all the things that exist are? I've got to learn all of science, all of metaphysics. Then I know what exists. And I know what does it even mean that there's one God for all of this? What does it even mean, God? What is this word? Just a word. What does it mean about Shleiman? That's Marich Beichad. But Eichad is plain geroid of the Menschheit. Exactly. That's why it says Marich Beichad, Marich lo yom v'shnoisav. Because it takes a very long time to figure out what Eichad means. You understand? What does it mean that there's one God? Did anyone know what it means? What? What is that God for? Yeah, monotheist. That's just a fancy Greek way or Latin way to say one God. Now, was long community? What difference does it make?
Does not make any sense.
So the machen sense is that God. You realized? What's the most important thing? Machen sense. There's only one making sense, is there?
You think there's more than one?
I don't know. You have to think about this. Because I just asked you why you're curious, because it doesn't make sense. So that means that making sense is your highest principle.
No, that doesn't make sense. No,
why not?
Because that's just playing games with the word. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. It can't be. Not like.
This can sound. So it's not a fact.
Or anything. Yeah.
It could be that making sense is the highest principle. It's at least Sfiras HaChachma. Of course, it's a God. What does God mean? What means God? God meint the principle, nein?
So, according to the rest of Chalamas rule, the God is not making sense?
Some people think that God is not making sense, yeah.
Okay, those people are wrong.
Very good, but now you have something to think about by Echad. Is it? Maybe they're right, who knows?
No, I can't think about the Echad because it's more than one thing. If it doesn't make sense, that's not an episode.
So the more things make sense, the more there are things?
The less things there are. Echad means one. Okay. Things making sense means that they are fit into each other, which means that there's less things. More things there are.
It's not more things, it's like halves.
Interesting.
Look at my puzzle.
Yeah.
Was immer das Nachstück von Sachpuzzles. Ja, das allein? Nein, aber was nur wie ein Sach. Ein Stück von ein Puzzle, das sagen.
Du hast Kind alles zusammen in einem großen Puzzle.
Nein, nur das Sachstück von anderen Puzzles.
Was gibt es auf 2 andere Puzzles? So ein Puzzle von alles. Ein riesiger Puzzle, das gibt zusammen in einem.
Ein riesiger Puzzle. That makes sense. It doesn't make sense.
So das ist nichts.
Du mehr Sachen.
Was
Opposite von Echad.
Was meinst du, wie ein Puzzle?
Nicht ich meine so. Du meinst meine so. Das ist nicht du, sie meinen, dass andere mit Puzzles. Somehow, this one is a puzzle.
Das ist same truths.
A puzzle, das sagt, stimmt, ja? So, ja, nicht a puzzle, aber nur schon, das sagt, stimmt. Okay? Du pusht gleich, das stimmt. Das macht Sinn. Das ist das, du sagst. Was du sagen darfst. Das ist nicht.
Jede meint, dass Sachen machen Sinn. Wer weiß nur nicht, wie es ist.
Nein, das macht Sinn. Das ist da teuer. Also, nein.
Aber ich habe gewiss, das macht Sinn, wo du sagst, ich sicher nicht.
Das sicher nicht, das ist der Frau.
Das ich mir. Und was soll ich sagen?
Some people. So okay, very good, no problem. So now you know what it means. Very good. Which drusha? But you see that there's very good. So the Zohar says like this. Listen, want to know how to be marich? What's that? This with the because the whole Torah. Very good. So the Zohar says a mushal in the beginning before Sefer Tznius. It says a mushal that a yid came to the yid from the country came to the city. And then by him in the country, they didn't have nothing. They had wheat. He came to the city and he saw cookies. And he asked them, what are these cookies? They said, what do you mean what the cookies are? They're made out of wheat. Interesting. I never heard that you can make cookies out of wheat. We just have wheat. And he got cake. And he asked them, what is this cake? He said, the cake is made out of wheat. He said, what? And then we came to the next shelf and he saw bread. And he said, bread is made out of wheat. And then he saw 7-layer cake and said, it's made out of wheat. And then he saw raglach and it's made out of wheat. And he saw crackers and it's made out of wheat. And then saw matzah and it's made out of wheat. And the guy said, you people are wasting your life. By us, we just have the wheat and shine. Why you need to make wheat into all these kind of prutim and all this kind of levishma wheat? It's all wheat. Says the Zohar, as it was a mensch, was a land nor the kitzer from alles. She's like, it's all there. Why do I have to get into all the Mefarshim, all the Parishim? It's anyways the same thing. Die bist azami chamar, if you end up as es nor weiz. And it's true that after or before you understand all the cakes and all the cookies, then you part of understanding is understanding how it's all from the same one wheat. Otherwise, you don't understand any of it. Was? Well, you could just eat straight the whites and shine.
Yeah, but meaning, you can't the ganze Schokolade and fix the kids and whatever. Guys, du musst ihn besonders schon machen, so guys, end up with all the white. Guys, end up the cookie.
What do you mean?
You took the cookies to get to. So do you have bites and baking powder and flour?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
What do you mean?
Trying to say is the master garden anyways essen the whites. According to the.
What do you mean? Wir essen nicht Weiz, wir essen Cookies. But a Chamar essen nur Weiz. Er sagt, alles ist in der Weiz. Ein Mensch, macht von der Weiz Cake und Cookies.
Ja, aber der Master
und alle meine Sachen.
Und das ist switchen the Muschel als the practical Sache, als an the Cookies. Nicht the practical, wie sagst du, practical Sache als an der Weiz. Lass zurück ein paar Dinge, und zurückkommen sie dabei.
Jetzt will ich mir sagen.
Jetzt will ich mir sagen. Ist. Als nimmt Zeit zu trachten wegen der alle Details. And we have to figure out all of the details also. That's the Yitzchok Mizeh from that. And then it's true that it's all the same thing in the end. Understand?
There is only one thing.
Yeah, of course, because it's true that it all came from the Vite, so that's not the point. Understand?
So we need to understand that we need to say this and say that Yitzchok is something else on the part. We don't know what all those things are, we just know about one thing. The Hakofas that we do something where they're going around the same thing, or Hakofas or something in itself. Meaning Hakofas where you go around something, the point is to go around something, or just to go around. Versteht ihr schon? What was Shabbos?
Yeah, I said a shit about that on Friday. Friday was? Yeah.
Yeah? I can't find it all and listen to that shit.
Yeah, about Hakofas we explained something and yesterday. When was it? Friday? Today was Shabbos, right? So Friday, yeah. That's enough luchas for Shana Rabba.
Okay.
Shine. Everyone should have a good ticket.